Stay tuned for another episode of the Coming Soon podcast with sPidA.
Hello, everybody. sPidA here once again. Coming soon podcast, San Antonio, Texas. My guest, Jenny Floyd. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
Well, it is Saturday. The work week's over. I mean, unfortunately, tomorrow's Sunday, and then we'll be back at it. But I'm doing pretty good, though. I've been resting a lot today, so it's not every weekend I get to take a break. I'm always at conventions or I'm always doing something. But I'm doing great, though.
Yeah, we've been getting a lot of rain. What's the last convention you've been to?
It was actually last weekend. I was actually we had three events here in town. They were all horror themed, but three different malls, three different. I mean, like 10 guests total.
Oh,
But
cool.
it was fun. Yeah, it was fun. It was one was the Evil Dead. Had a couple of cast members from the Evil Dead, the
Favorite.
original. The other one, Felisa Rose was there. You had David Sheridan. You had that one. Then the other one was the Queens of Horror. So we had some ladies from horror movies that were out there. So Daniel
Oh,
Harris, among others. It was a blast. I was tired. I'm tired. I'm still trying to recover, but it was well worth it though.
yeah, that's how I always am when I go to conventions or anything. You gotta have like a rest period to get yourself together again because it's a lot of fun. People don't realize it.
No, yeah, I'm today I was actually planning on going to well, not today but tomorrow to Bastrop, which is like about an hour away from here. But
Oh,
the gas station, the whole Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Um,
favorite.
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm hoping I don't know if it's still up on the air, so I'll see if I'll head out there tomorrow. But the bathroom girls from the Scream movie, the original, are out there, so I just figured I'd go out there and hang out for a minute. But and of course, I don't know if you've ever been to the gas station, but they serve some mean barbecue.
Oh no, yeah, I got it. That's on my to-do list. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Because the first time I went out there, I was like, okay, you know what? I'm not a big barbecue person, but I'm like, man, if you know do it just right, I'm like, yeah, I'll eat it. I'm not a big fan of chewing into something that feels like a belt. It's just I want it to be
I,
tender.
yeah, it's gotta be. Yeah.
but
You're the
of course, I mean,
best.
I know. But I have you on here for one of many reasons. I mean, of course, you are an author, you're a writer. You do
Yeah.
have a book, and of course, you sent me the image. This is what we're gonna get into throughout this conversation. But really is the strange and unusual. So I definitely have questions on that. But let me ask you. I mean, you are in Kentucky. Most importantly, I mean, you mentioned is it a city or a town that you live in?
I live in a little city, Shepherdsville.
Yeah.
Ghost tour. I did. um, it's kind of like right beside Louisville, so it's not that far away.
Okay, and of course, I mean, you mentioned the paranormal. I mean, the as far as the hauntings and what surrounds that town or the city, because of course, this is what your life revolves around.
Right.
I mean, you have a lot to do with the paranormal. I mean, tell us a little bit about when all this started.
Well, when I was a kid, my parents they collected antiques, and what started the major haunting in Shepherdsville for me was the steamboat table my parents had to have. And it was in their kitchen table. They used it we actually ate off of it. It was from an old steamboat. And it was very haunted. It would always, I mean, it was like poltergeist. If you've seen that part where the
Wow. Okay.
chair flies, yeah, it was that extreme.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And I remember one of my parents, they brought home a puppet. I don't know. It was pretty haunted. I do believe in dolls and stuff being haunted.
Yeah. No.
And,
Well, you see, I mean, that's one of the things because, of course, um, for myself, I mean, I've been in houses. Well, we lived in houses throughout my childhood, and on two of them, there was actually I had witnessed, sightings. I mean, seeing the silhouettes, the reflections. I mean, you name it. So I mean, I'm a believer. I believe that.
yes.
Yeah. Everybody's like, "Oh, you die, that's it," and I'm like, "No, man. There's more
No.
to it." I mean, this. a lot of times whether the spirit lingers and hold on to an object, whether it's a table or a doll or a house, but yeah,
Yeah,
I've seen stuff that, man, I mean, even right now I'm getting goosebumps, because it's like I
yeah.
couldn't explain it. I was a kid, I was in middle school, right into conversation, the street literally like 6 blocks away from where I live now, two-story house. My whole family, there was eight of us growing up, but I mean at that time I think it was five total, and then my older brother had his girlfriend there, so it was a lot of us living there. Four-bedroom home, it was big. We, man, loved it. There was a lot of space. We had a yard. One day, we're going home, and as we go up the driveway, there's a silhouette, and everybody's like, "Oh, I'm thinking my sister's here because it looked like her. It was just like a female, silhouette." I run upstairs. I go up there. I don't see her. I go to the other rooms. Nothing. I go downstairs, and I told my mom. I said, "Hey, nobody's here." And she's like, "Oh, I know." And I'm like, okay. So I left it at that. I didn't question it. I'm downstairs where I would sit here. This is the living room. I could lean over, look upstairs, big old window, and on the reflection, you could see like somebody just walking by,
Oh my gosh.
a female, a silhouette. And I'm looking and I'm thinking, okay, like what the world, and you could hear people talking. You could hear the footsteps. Nobody's upstairs, it's like a few of us downstairs watching TV. And so all this was going on. I was afraid, my mom, hey, go get my purse. And I'm like, crap, I have to go upstairs, and I'm running upstairs, grabbing the purse, running down.
Right.
you know One of the things, we moved out. I never really asked why. We just kind of, okay, we're moving. We moved to another house. Fast forward years later, I go to my mom's house. At this time I'm older. I went to go visit her. And I told her, and I said, hey, I drove by that two-story house we used to live at right there in Roosevelt. And she's like, oh yeah, she kind of made this little like reaction. And I'm
Yeah.
like, I said, why did we ever move out of there? And she says, well, that lady, I will wake up and she'd be there staring at me,
Oh my gosh.
and by the bed. And I'm just like, what the? And I looked at her and I said, so it wasn't just me? And she's like, no, there was somebody living there. And I was just like, whoa, like that. I was like, okay, it's just nobody ever spoke about it, but her
That's
telling
how.
me that, yeah, but that was one of them, but it's like, yeah, there's things out there we can't explain. I mean, you mentioning earlier, as far as what you went through growing up. I mean, what are some of the other things that you've experienced throughout the years?
Oh my gosh. My favorite one was at Waverly. They're notorious for the shadow people. I've actually seen them there, and I've actually had them. I went there when I was younger, and I used to wear a ponytail. I had something yank my ponytail.
Oh, damn. Okay. Wow.
um, yeah, that was pretty intense. Uh, it's pretty interesting. Kentucky apparently is known for Bigfoots. Are you into that stuff?
Oh yeah, man. Bigfoot, Loch Ness. I mean, everybody keeps talking about the ocean and creatures we don't know about. I mean, there's still areas in the world that we don't know anything about, so it's like, who knows what's living out there. But I believe, I mean, whether there's a Bigfoot per se, I mean, just like an alien, people are like describing the same concept, the same. And I'm like, you know what, they might look like us. We don't even know. It's just, I believe there's other beings out here. I truly do.
Yeah, and I like how the government said in a roundabout way, yeah, there's aliens, and everybody's just like, oh well.
Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah, like okay, yeah, we knew it, but nobody ever said it out loud. Not that the government's like, oh yeah, they're here. We're just gonna keep living life. But yeah,
Right.
it's just, the American, the government, when it comes to it's like I tell people, like after the war, a lot of the Nazis that were captured, they were like, hey, you either work with us or you go to prison or go to trial. And a lot
Mhm.
of them decided to work with the government or the U.S. or so yeah. I mean, who's to say they're not doing that with other things? I mean, it's just like, yeah, there's a lot out there we don't understand. I mean, as far as technology, yeah, we have scientists, we have people creating this whole 5G that they created in a laboratory somewhere. How do we know it's not alien form or alien? Like, there's a lot of things to it, but I believe there's other things out there that we're not being told yet. So we'll see in a couple of years.
Right. And my book is it's kind of like spoke into metaphors from, the favorite title of the movie. You can kind of guess the real life Lydia dudes here.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was the little ghost girl in Shepherdsville, the town I did the ghost tour at. I wanted to honor that town because I was a flood victim of 1997. It destroyed my home. So, and that town really meant a lot to me and the people there.
That was a feedback from the. Sorry.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine.
No,
And
but yeah, but I mean, as far as the town you were saying, I'm sorry about that.
no, you're fine. Um, what's so funny about it? I went to school for mortuary school. I ended up working at the same funeral home that was right beside my house.
Oh
I
wow.
was a I was a creepy little kid. Me and my neighbor, we would sneak over and try to see if we could see something. It's just I was a weird kid.
But I mean, let me say this because even I mean, as kids, we're innocent. We don't know. We learn as far as what's right, what's wrong. We develop a self conscious. We develop our character. There's this thing like people talk about the third eye. As far as us being able to see beyond that third dimension. And I strongly believe like there's times when I've been so tired and I'm like at my weakest, I guess mentally and emotionally, and I feel like I can transplant into something else, or I feel like that's the moment that if I'm gonna be attacked spiritually, that's like the perfect time because I'm not strong enough to mentally to defend myself, and there's been situations, I mean, like where for example, like another time, this was like when I was in high school. I was already like 16, 17. And, I'm living in a house. I'm in the back room, I'm tired. I mean, I work nights, I used to go to school, of course, high school. And, I wake up and I'm just like, man, I'm not, I didn't feel good. So I didn't go to school, but I slept in. It's around 10:30 and I wake up. And my younger brother used to live with us at the time. And I literally, as soon as I get up, I look and I see somebody standing there, and I'm like half asleep, so I'm like, oh man, so I grab my pillow and I'm like, hey, get out of my room, and I
Right.
throw it, and it goes right through him, and I'm just like, man, I get up, I run out the back door, go run all the way around the house, and it was just like, who's to say, I can say, okay, yeah, I was tired and I was hallucinating, but I was awake, I'm there and I'm just trying to, you know, concentrate on what I'm looking at, but I literally just see a silhouette standing there. Like there was something standing there. And so for me, it's like, yeah, when we're that tired and there's different ways to as far as gateways, that third eye. I mean, we can see things. If how can I say how can I say it? Like if we want to see something, we can. We just don't want to. So because
Right.
we don't want to, go ahead.
I totally agree with you. I feel like society is so against it, and it closes our minds from opening,
Yeah,
from what's around us.
because there was something I had read a while back, and this is like years back, but they were talking about how some of these drinks that we, sodas, juices, they carry something that stops us from developing that third eye or developing that sense to where it's just so many toxins in our body that we can't, because one of the things, I mean, not that I don't believe in the medical field, of course, there's
Right.
medicines, there's things that we take as adults, but it's like when my kids were little, I used to tell them, I said, look, if you break a nail, your body will repair it. If you cut your hair, your body will grow it up. I said, our body is like it'll repair itself. If we're healthy and we're in good standing and we're like, you know what, if we break something, I'm like, yeah, the body, I feel the body will repair itself. But because we take so many toxins, so many, blockers, that our body can't do that. So we kind of rely on these medicines now because we're denying our body of its own natural, defense. And that's kind of like the same lineage. I feel like, okay, you know what, those are the same medicines, the same blockers that we're taking that's preventing us from seeing through what's really out there because you know I don't scare easy. When it comes to like horror movies, I'm like, I can sit through stuff, but
Yeah.
when it comes to like something that I can't explain, yeah, it like weirds me out, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I can't, I have no control over this. Like, I don't know what's going on. When it comes to the paranormal and seeing things or hearing things, like, I'm running. I'm not gonna lie, it's just one of those things, but yeah, I feel they're out there. I feel there's spirits around us at all times. Um, a while back, somebody had posted something about like, oh, you know what if like every time you walk in a room and you forget why you're there is because you pass another spirit and you kind of
Mhm.
black out, or and I was just like, man, that's wild, because it happens. I'll be somewhere and I'll be walking and I'm like, what the heck, what did I come over here for? And I just completely forget. And who's to say? I mean, there's so many things out there we still can't explain, but obviously, it's that's what we're here. We're trying to figure it out.
And like my goal in the paranormal, I was trying to reach everyone and try to change that, for everyone to see there is something there, and they can hear you. And when I go on investigations, you'll see me talk to the spirit. I'll call them by their name and stuff, and I will get like the best reactions, and people are like, "How do you do that?" Because I give them respect.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
You think-
pretty it's pretty good, you know.
Let me ask you this though. I mean, when did all that start happening for you? I mean, have you always, like, as a kid, were you able to talk to like spirits and things out there?
Age 3. um, I never had a grandfather, and I mean, when I was younger, I didn't know I had a grandfather. I always knew my
Right.
grandmother. And I saw this man who was visiting me in Shepherdsville, and he told me I looked like my mom, and he said, "I'm your grandfather." And it really freaked everybody out. And everybody would ask me if somebody in the family, they would be like, "Is someone visiting?" And it just kind of went from there.
Man, okay, and of course, I mean, as a kid, I mean, how did you take that growing up? I mean, was that something that you were afraid of, or were you comfortable with that?
It was kind of like not understanding what was going on. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty comfortable, Um, sat in the dark at Waverly Hills, of all the scariest places on earth, I guess you could say, but alone. Um, it takes a lot to scare me. So
Well, let me ask you this, because one of the things, and not that I mean, like I mentioned earlier, as far as what I believe in, I mean, I do believe that spirits out there. I mean, that's not something I'm gonna change my mind on tomorrow, because I've
right,
always thought
right,
that, But my thing is, like, when I see these ghost hunts and
yeah,
these people that are out there with the machines, and they're like, the sound and lighting, and every time they find something, they're always running. And I'm
right,
just thinking to myself, like, okay, if I believe, I mean, if I'm here and I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna start investigating. I mean, it's one thing for me to be scared, but if we're out there looking for spirits and we find them, why would people react like that? Like, knowing that that's what they're there for. I just those are one of the things. I mean, and I get it. It's creepy. It's like, wow, okay, you know what? But it's just like, if I'm doing that, like, I've noticed like a lot of videos, and I don't know if they do it just for the hype. I don't know if they do it just so they can sell it and be like, oh man, okay, you know what? But it's just,
right.
for me, I don't get that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, you saying right now that you're not afraid, you're comfortable. That's what I would assume. I would assume like, hey, you know what? I'm a paranormal investigator. This is what I'm trying to prove because I believe in this. Then if I find something, I mean, of course, I'm gonna be like, oh man, I'm standing here. Something's there. I'm not gonna be running away from it because that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to find out what's out there and find the truth, and but I don't know. I mean, I just wanted to ask that because I was curious to see how, if you ever noticed that, like from these videos that are out there. I mean, what are your thoughts on something like that?
Um, I think a lot of them are kind of, they're just, it's a hobby, and it's kind of like, you know, they do it for their views and the reactions.
Right.
For me, it's kind of like a journey I'm going through, and if I died on the other side, I wouldn't want somebody, treating me like that. So
Yeah. No, you see, and of course, there's a lot of times, like say for example, like my grandma, I got close to her before she passed, and there's a lot like every once in a while, like, there's things that pop up and it reminds me of her, and I'm like, man, like I
And
don't. I've never been able to like talk to her, or but I always do think about her, and I miss her, and I'm like, you know what, like if she were to appear, or if I were to make contact, like I don't think I mean I wouldn't be afraid, but it's just have you ever been able to do that on your end? I mean, a contact like a past family member. I mean, other than your grandpa, of course, but I mean, as you grew up.
my grandmother.
Oh, really? And you have?
It was like she always told me when she passed away, she goes, Jenny, do not try to find me. And I'm like, I'm going to, I am. We're in our house, and I said, Mama, are you here? And we got a thing that said, shut up. And it was her voice. So I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, yeah, she's here. Man. Now, of course, I mean, you living in a town like you do. I mean, saying that it's one of the most haunted. Is it the most haunted here in the U.S.?
Louisville, Waverly Hills, to me, that place is, and so yeah, I think it is.
And I mean, as far as the town itself, I mean, what's around there that I mean, I'm sure there's buildings that have been around for years, but I mean, are there certain like buildings or cemeteries that are like haunted more than the other?
Well, I would say Cave Hill Cemetery. There's a lot of famous people buried there. They don't like talking about the ghost. Muhammad Ali, he is buried there. There's a few other people. Um,
Right.
I was going to mention before I forgot so many places. Bellwood, heard of that?
Man, okay, okay. Yeah, because even now, like, growing up, I mean, we used to no, we're not growing up, but I mean, as we got older, like there was this one club that we used to go to back in the day, right? And they used to have this all nighter. This was like maybe like 80 late 80s. And every time we got there, like at 12 o'clock, they closed the door. So they're like, hey, if you go outside, you can't come back in. And we were always like, oh, well, let's stay outside. And then we'd be walking, trying to figure out somewhere to go. And there was a cemetery. And like every time we go there, like I would see things. And I don't know if it was other kids that were, but everybody freak out and start running. And I'm like trying to stay calm because I'm like, okay, like I don't know if it was people. I don't know, because I always see silhouettes. But but I've never been like afraid to go to the cemetery, but it's just like I've never been out there more than those times, like in the evening or at night where, so I mean, when you go out there, I mean, have you gone to the cemetery? I mean, do you see ghosts more like at different times more than the other, like in the mornings, in the evenings, at night?
My was actually a cemetery. I think he during the or night. Eastern Cemetery in Louisville, Victoria's um, on it. There was very bad funeral directors who buried people on top of each other,
Oh wow.
and they just did very horrible things there. And I always tell people to check because of being, in that industry, you have to make sure where your loved one is going.
Man, okay, okay. And of course, I mean, with something like that, I mean, the spirits, like we talked earlier, like I mean, if some of them aren't ready to transfer over or go into the as far as to the next level, because even now, like I was born, baptized Christian. I believe, in heaven and hell. I believe it's just for me. It's just like for the spirits to be here. Like it's just I'm not sure how that works. I'm not sure if it's because of they don't want to move on, or if they're just trapped here, if they're waiting for something. It's just. I mean, what are your thoughts on something like that? I mean, do you think that they just get trapped in between?
I think it's kind of like, yeah, like you said, they're trapped in between. In my book, I talk about the silly stuff and the power. I actually met a psychic at a convention that told me she could send people to heaven. I was just like, no, it doesn't work. They're all, but I feel we all energy
Yeah.
is what defines us and who we are, and you are a good person and have a lot of energy in life, you're going to have it on the other side too.
No, you see, there was something about well, years back somebody had talked about, but they were talking about how when we die, I mean, this dies, but our aura like doesn't. So, like you said, all that energy, all those emotions, everything that's in you, it's got to go somewhere. So yeah, it's just if if it gets stuck here, when things come possessed, whether it's a house or belongings or something, it's just, I mean, it's that aura or that ball of energy trying to find somewhere to go and just make something its own. But I mean, that's wild. I mean, it's just, there's so many things. I mean, as far as like experiences that I've been through, and you know I can explain them. It's like even that house now, that the one that's down the street from my house, like I had looked it up and I was just like, man, I wonder when it was built. And
Yeah.
it turned out it was built in the 1930s.
Oh, wow.
And that house, like it had an owner, and it showed the date on when they sold the house, like in 1940 something, and then they sold it. And it's like every so many years, like it kept getting sold and resold and resold. And I'm like, man, why is nobody staying there? Like it just raised more questions, because even now there's people living there, and I so bad want to stop by there and be like, hey, have y'all heard anything or have y'all seen anything? Like, because yeah, there's something out there. I mean, I can't explain it, but it's wild. It's just one of those things that you know I mean, we experience and we try to figure out what's going on. And just real quick, I think I'm not sure if it's your phone because your audio keeps going on and off.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, just earlier towards the end I could hear you, but it kept like chopping up a little bit, so I'm not sure if it's on your end.
Yeah, it's probably on my end. I'll take a
Oh,
look
okay,
at
okay. Yeah, because I could hear you, but yeah, towards the end, it kind of started chopping up. But let me ask you now, of course, you did send me that image. I mean, as far as being an author, as far as writing, what have you done as far as books? I mean, newsletters. I mean, what is it that you mostly write on?
Well, um, I've done horror. I have a retro horror. I wrote about sloth zombies. Apparently, that's a movie now, like some type of sloth zombie movie. Have you seen it? It's an indie,
Oh no, I'm gonna have to look that up though.
but it, I don't know. We didn't copyright it, so it was meant to be a
Oh, okay.
story. It's in the book called Retro Horror, and
Yeah.
also um, when I write my paranormal books, it's kind of like I'm trying to change. It's like everything that I put my heart into,
Yeah.
and I want people to enjoy it from an older person or somebody doesn't view or it has the same views as me.
Yeah.
It's kind of like my goal since I've been doing this. Since it's kind of like I've been the little ghost girl of Shepherdsville. The real life Lydia Beats, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But I went to the James Dean Festival. Was a guest there. Yeah, I don't know if you know. Do you know who James Dean is? Right?
Yeah. This one.
Yeah. Everything to do with him in encyclopedia. I was the guest of honor at Clark uh, birthday. Uh, I've done a lot. I was going to talk to you before I forgot. The most other haunted place I've been to was the Bell Witch Cabin. I don't know,
Oh, okay.
in Tennessee. That town still stuck in the 90s, I believe, and it's just really interesting town.
Oh man. Okay. And how far? When was this that you went out there?
That was probably like 5 years ago.
Okay.
That I don't think it was necessarily a witch. I feel like it was a Native American spirit that was just mad because what they did.
Right.
And back then, if it's a ghost or something strange, you're a witch.
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, yeah, they couldn't explain this, so they just wanted to burn everything, right?
Yeah, yeah. But that were very intense. When you went into it, like I thought I heard some voices. It was you can just the atmosphere when stuff like that goes on the air. So
Well, let me ask you. I mean, and not to change the subject, but I did want to get on this because, of course, you sent me this image. Now, Jenny is the strange and unusual. So, of course, you said the title kind of sounds like something else, right? I mean, you've been throwing it out there, but the story, the book itself, I mean, it's based on everything that you've gone through. I mean, so is everything fiction or nonfiction? I mean, what are you doing with it?
it's all nonfiction.
Okay.
Just about my silly life, everything I encountered throughout the years, and thanking people that who have supported me, and that's a part of me. So
Okay, and of course, I mean, that's not. I mean, when you finish the book, I mean, when you were like, okay, I'm going to publish it. I mean, of course, obviously, it's not over yet, right? I mean, you're still writing, you're still looking to maybe publish another one.
yeah, most definitely. I'm working on another one, but this book I keep changing and adding things. It's just a part of me. That book is
And of course, I mean, when it comes to purchasing the book, where can people find it at? I mean, as far as once it's
when it's officially live, it will be on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, all major retailers you can buy it from. I'm
nice.
going around locally cutting in stores. I'm going to. So.
Okay, okay. Yeah, because I mean, Barnes and Nobles. I mean, we have one here in San Antonio. I mean, I'll definitely keep an eye out for that when it is released. I mean, I'm sure you'll post it out there, so I'll definitely go and grab one, man. Definitely interested to see what I can read on there.
Okay, awesome. I appreciate you.
No, no problem. Now, of course, I mean, writing. Earlier, you mentioned you wrote about a zombie sloth. Was it? Now, have you ever written something like for a movie, like on purpose? I mean, has anybody reached out to you and maybe wanted to turn one of your stories into a movie?
No, they haven't. I was pretty surprised to find out somebody did a movie about sloths right after we did that. So it was pretty funny. But yeah, I would love for somebody to reach out to me and use sloth zombies.
Yeah, I mean, just in general, because even one of the things now, for myself, like I love horror. When it comes to movies, I'm like, okay, you know what, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna give my 2 cents. Whether I like it or not, or just a lot of times it's not for me. I always thank the director and the actress for making it, because just because I don't like it doesn't mean somebody else will, or vice versa. So the fact that the movies are out there, I see a lot of zombie movies, and a lot of them kind of like the remakes for like Jason, Friday the 13th. They're always making fan films, and I see them so much out there. And a lot of times I'm like, well, I'm not a big fan of it. The storyline, the hypnosis has to catch me in order for me to be like, okay, yeah, I want to watch this. Something different, same character. Yesterday it just so happened I went and saw the A Violent Nature. Right, I went to go see it at the theater. Um, I wasn't looking. How can I say it? Like I was looking forward to seeing that. I was like, you know what? I want to go watch it. It wasn't for me. I sat through it. I said, okay, you know what? I have my pros and cons as far as what I thought about the film. It just didn't do anything for me. I just but it's just a lot of people love it. So I'm like, okay, cool. I mean, the fact that I mean, we have our own opinions, our own views. We're people, right? We're gonna do that. So it's just I keep it professional. I just let as far as people ask me like, oh man, what didn't you like? Now, when it comes to being a writer, an author, do you criticize yourself when you go back? I mean, do you reread stuff and you're like, oh man, I should have done this or I should have added that?
If I can make or like this book, been working on it ever. I can probably. That's how. I'm
You know, and let me ask you, because the book itself, I mean, I'm sure, I mean, you're writing on it, but are there going to be any images, any photos, like personal photos that you've had?
yes,
Oh, sweet. Okay.
yeah, the steamboat tables in it. I was trying to find a doll that was very on it, but I can't find it. But I'm gonna find it.
Man, and the table, who has that now?
It got the Flood got it. So
Oh man, okay, okay. I was gonna say because I was like, man, you still have that?
yeah, no, I wish we did. I would so or donate it to a haunted museum or something.
Man, well, I mean that's cool though. I mean, as far as publishing, this book or releasing this book once you're done with it and able to publish it and get it out there. What else have you worked on? I mean, have you? Let me ask you this: have you ever done any audiobooks?
No, I haven't. I've been suggested to. I would like to.
Yeah, because I don't mind reading. I mean, I don't, but a lot of times, I still have audiobooks here. I have some like downloaded on my phone. So if I'm at work and I'm working, doing what I'm supposed to, I'll put it on and I'll listen to it. But it's just a little bit more, I mean, while I'm out there, I'm listening to stories. I love audiobooks, man. That's one of my second perks. I always pick up and just try to find them somewhere, whether it's on YouTube or a stream service or other. But that'd be pretty cool, though. I mean, I'd definitely be interested in something like that.
I forgot to tell you also. I officially went on my first ghost hunt.
Oh,
Um, years old. My mom worked at this antique store called Joe Antique, and that was fun. I still remember it. I don't. This lady said she was psychic, but she wasn't psychic. I remember
yeah,
I scared one of the. I guess he was like the journalist or something.
yeah.
I was so used to that building, being a kid and playing in the antique store. Um, I really surprised him, and he let out a big scream like a girl. So I remember that.
Oh man, yeah, that's not good. Man, you see, one of the things for me, like even as a kid, like when I was supposed to be going, oh, I think I lost her. Let me give her a second, see if she jumps back on here, everybody. Of course, we're still live, so I'm gonna see if I can get her back on. Jenny Floyd, the author, of course, of Jenny is the Strange and Unusual. I'm looking to bring her back. I definitely want to bring her back on here and break down a few more things. I mean, there's a lot more stories that I would love to get into detail with on my end. So let's see if she can get back on her right quick. But of course, make sure and follow her. Once the book is released, I'm going to be sharing that on my platforms. Or those that are interested, definitely go pick up a book, pick up a copy, support. Now, of course, the paranormal. I mean, when it comes to the horror genre, there's different factors. Of course, you got gore, you got comedy, you've got paranormal, serial killers. I mean, there's also so it just depends on what it is that you're after. I was mentioning the movie earlier when it comes to it not being for me. I love and support everything, man. Everything that's out there. If you're doing it, I'm gonna support it. Of course, whether or not I like it, that's a different story, right? But I mean, I definitely want to be out there and support and get everybody involved. But of course, let me give her a few minutes, see if she can jump back on here. To appreciate everybody that's jumped on. Of course, it is Saturday. I was hoping to make it out to Bass Shop today. I might make it out there tomorrow, hang out for a bit, grab me some barbecue, get something to eat. Try to relax for the most part. I mean, today, I'm gonna get some stuff done. I might have one more interview later on today. Tomorrow, I've got two going on. So, of course, for those that are watching, go to the YouTube channel, subscribe. I need subscribers. I need that platform to go up. The Facebook page, as of right now, it might already be at 1,000 followers. So I appreciate everybody that's been chiming in, sharing it. You guys are the best. Appreciate you. But let me give it a few more minutes. If not, everybody, of course, I shared the image. This is for her book. And I appreciate her jumping on here, of course. Jenny, I'm sure you're out there. Jenny Floyd. Now, Jenny is the strange and unusual. Like she mentioned, it's a little keywords from a movie that's going to be coming out. They're remaking the movie itself later on this year. So looking forward to that. I just want to thank everybody, of course, for those that have been out there supporting me from the get-go. You guys are great. Appreciate everyone. And of course, I don't think I'm going to get her back on here. But man, I thank you, Jenny. I'm going to be messaging you in a bit and try to get you back on here for sure. You know, we had a little problem. The audio kept going in and off, but I appreciate you jumping on here and sharing with us, you know, as far as with your work and what you've done. So I'm going to put the image back up. So I thank you, you know, for those that are following up. Appreciate you guys. As always, sPidA here, Coming Soon Podcast. Till next time, follow up.